20 years ago, Cascade Land Conservancy began as a small group of neighbors working to protect parks and nature preserves for future generations to enjoy. The Conservancy's efforts started out in King County, and over the years we joined forces with citizens in Snohomish, Pierce, Kittitas, and Mason counties. The size and scope of conservation projects grew, and critical lands were protected. From the Teanaway Farm in Kittitas County, up to Robe Canyon in Snohomish County, and down to Morse Wildlife Preserve in Pierce County. These and other projects prove that with the support of the community, the Conservancy could really get things done.
I can't imagine Cascade Land Conservancy without its volunteers and its community support, because that's one aspect of this organization that has grown in leaps and bounds since we started. Every time I see the number of people who turn up to pull ivy and whack blackberries, it's stunning, it's impressive, it's humbling.
The vital role community volunteers play became more and more clear to Cascade Land Conservancy. We also learned over the years that people and housing are not enemies of conservation. In fact, a healthy community requires all three. Through a landmark project in 2001, the Conservancy brought together local residents, developers, and city and county leaders to protect one of the most iconic and visited attractions in our region, Snoqualmie Falls.
We did it right. We did it right. Snoqualmie won. The citizens won. The city of Snoqualmie won. The public as a whole won. And we preserved something that was very, very important, which is the look and feel of Snoqualmie Falls. And it made a statement about the Northwest, which is that here we protect our natural resources. That catalyst, that Snoqualmie Falls initiative, led to so much in terms of our ability to acquire lands and use various tools. Wow, it was a catalyst to all things that we've done since that time.
Together, we protected the view from the falls, conserved thousands of acres of working forest lands, and created a new community of homes nearby. Our efforts prove that conservation and economic growth are not at odds, but can in fact support one another. In all, Cascade Land Conservancy protected more than 100,000 acres by its 15th year, an accomplishment to be celebrated. But we recognize that our community deserved more. Given the dramatically rising population in our region, a strategic and far-reaching effort was called for. Not a plan to protect isolated pieces of land here and there, but a long-term vision that acknowledges the link between conserving great lands and creating great communities.
It's how you go about it. It's a real difficult task.
In response, Cascade Land Conservancy brought together thousands of people through a series of community forums. Together, we created a plan that balances our environmental, economic, and social needs, the Cascade Agenda.
This was not a conversation that was held on behalf of citizens. This was a conversation that citizens held on behalf of themselves. Perhaps here is the one takeaway. You can't separate a healthy environment and a healthy economy. If they don't work together, neither one of them works alone.
And that conversation started by our citizens has continued. To date, more than 17,000 people have contributed to the vision and on-the-ground implementation of the Cascade Agenda. Volunteers are restoring parks and cities across the region. Groundbreaking programs have been created that have the potential to conserve 1 million acres of critical farms and forests in the next 20 years. Cascade Agenda is not only creating phenomenal change in local communities, it is also becoming a model for visionary conservation across the nation. Communities from Florida to Maine to San Francisco have modeled their own planning efforts on the agenda. Right here in our own backyard, community leaders on the Olympic Peninsula are creating a 100-year vision for their lands, communities, and economy.
We are quite literally in this race, and that is both good and bad in the sense that all we have to do is preserve these landscapes, these working landscapes, once, and then they're there forever. That asset is in the bank. But it is also true that once they're gone forever.
We've got here tonight a great representation of environmental activists, of business people, of realtors, of people who are out in the community doing their thing for the
The last 20 years of conservation and community building have prepared Cascade Land Conservancy for the challenges of today.
To advance conservation,
We have the know-how and creative spirit to change conservation as we know it. Most importantly, the Conservancy has the big tent of partners, leaders, and volunteers who make the Cascade Agenda not just a vision, but a very real path forward. Together, we're protecting our most precious landscapes. And just as importantly, we're working to ensure our communities are sustainable long into the future. We have so much to be proud of in the Northwest, so much to protect. Working together, we can leave a region worthy of our children and grandchildren.